And welcome back to our program here on Coastal Daybreak here on the talk station FM 107 and AM 1240. Joining us this morning, 31-year Naval Veteran Strategic Advisor and National Liaison for the Vets for Energy program, Rear Admiral Don Loren. Good morning, Admiral. How are you?
Good morning. How are you this morning? A pleasure to be with you, and thank you for having me.
It's good to have you on. And where are you today?
I am in a little bit of an overcast Alexandria, Virginia. I was excited listening to your weather forecast here earlier.
Yeah, it may clear up for you as well there, watching that front move away. So as we look at not only the weather, we're also seeing some winds of change going on in Washington, D.C. over national energy policy. Tell us what's going on.
Well, first of all, I represent a group called Veterans for Energy. That's Vets number 4 Energy. And we like to think that we are a grassroots organization that represents the 23 million veterans of this nation. When it comes to discussion of energy policies, we're the firm belief that sound energy decisions have to be made in the context of understanding and at least debating and discussing their implications on national security policy. So that's what we do, but we also are very much involved in promoting veteran employment in the energy industry. So that's where we come from.
Okay, all right. So how does that manifest itself right now? Because we have the Trump administration that is looking to reverse a number of the edicts and declarations from the Obama administration. So how does that affect things?
Yes. Well, again, remember, all politics are local,
right? And
every community has to take into consideration the benefits and potential disadvantages associated with their communities. But the reality is you have to have the discussion about energy policy. An example you and I have talked about in the past was offshore drilling and the prohibition on offshore drilling. When you take a look at the fact that it takes anywhere from 7 to 10 years to actually develop any offshore resources, then you add on top of that the requirement for seismic testing and mapping so you know where the resources are. We're talking about 15 years before you can extract some of the tremendous amount of resources in oil and natural gas we have off our shores. When you add the 7-year ban from the previous administration, that's just an inexcusable delay in at least having a good idea what resources we have. And please remember that we are an energy nation. The reality is, all of your listeners out there, if they look around wherever they are right now, they probably cannot see anything within their sight that was not produced, grown, manufactured, or transported without energy. We're an energy nation. And to get back to the national security aspects of this, the largest consumer of energy in America today is the Department of Defense. And one additional piece, if I may, is please remember that national security is not merely military policy. National security certainly is evidenced in a document we produce every administration called the National Security Strategy of the United States, is comprised of military defense, diplomatic, development, economic, immigration, and energy policies. So there are many, many facets to the national security of our nation. Energy and defense are one of those facets, and the implication of energy policy decisions on defense is critical.
Okay, let's take the offshore energy strategy for example. Taking a look at North Carolina, a lot of people have misgivings, have one way or another. But shouldn't we know whether or not there is even a potential?
I agree with you. We have, the United States is the largest. This only happened within the last couple of years. We are the largest producer of oil and natural gas in the world. That has tremendous implications for our economy, for our security, for how we use energy to bolster our interests and support our allies. Take a look at what the Russians have done using natural gas as a blackmail tool for our Eastern European allies. So
Sure.
these are things we have to consider. We still import energy, which is sort of mind-boggling. And so we have to have a sound energy plan, and part of that is to know what potential resources we have available and then develop a strategic plan for over a period of years how we develop, tap into, and use those resources. So delaying the seismic exploration and the mapping of where these resources are, in my opinion, is not a particularly sound national security decision.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other implications around that. For example, a lot of people worry. I mean, you know the worry. You've heard it about if you have offshore drilling, if you have any offshore energy production, is that an accident? Something that happens is going to just devastate a coastline forever. Now, I think, sure, I think there's that. There should always be that concern and that and those safeguards in place. But a lot of people, again, as you said, is 15, 20 years in the future are looking at technology that was in other parts of the world or other parts of the Gulf, for example, that also was developed 15, 20, 30, 40 years previously. So
Exactly.
we're not looking at what future technology might be like.
No, exactly. You bring up an excellent point. First of all, let's be honest, and we at Veterans for Energy, as well, it is my conviction that those in the energy industry understand that we must be good stewards of the planet, understand that there needs to be the appropriate monitoring and regulation associated with extracting, transporting, developing these types of resources. Nobody wants to have an oil spill or an accident. Nobody wants to pollute the shores or the waters. Nobody wants to incur the tremendous costs and liabilities associated with these things. But if you use the same type of logic, are you precluded from stepping in your automobile because of the fear of potentially having an accident as you drive to work in the morning? So the reality is we have to be good stewards. We have to do things correctly. There has to be appropriate oversight and regulation. But the reality is, if we want to fuel the economy of the United States, if we want to maintain the lifestyle that we have as an energy-dependent nation, and if we want to ensure the strongest and most effective national security for the nation, we have to consider these things and make sound energy policy decisions.
If people want to find out more about Vets for Energy, how do they do that?
You can go to our website, www.vets4energy.com. One of the interesting pieces on there is also a translator program. If you are a veteran or about an active duty military member about to leave the service, you can check your military occupational skills, and it will tell you the types of jobs that are available in the energy industry for you.
Oh,
and the reverse is true. The energy industry can do the same, and they can target particular military skills.
Oh, that's good, because we certainly in this area have plenty of people that are short-timers that are looking to get out very soon after having completed their commendable service to this country. So.
You bet. There's no greater population to man your workforce than those young men and women who have worn the cloth of the nation, skilled, disciplined, trained. What a great resource that is to all Americans.
Yeah, one of the things, of course, in the news today is about the Paris Accords and about the decision by the Trump administration to take that long 4-year effort. It takes 4 years to get out of it, by the way. So to begin that clock. And one is that what a lot of people don't know is that our energy policy that has allowed for natural gas production and fracking has actually lowered our carbon emissions. So we've already met some of those milestones.
Oh, you bet. We're actually one of the leaders in the world, if not the leader, in the reduction of carbon emissions. So because we do that responsibly. And we understand that. And let's be honest, the way this all works, we are in a capitalistic society. People think that the government is the font of all things. The reality is, if you want research and development in renewables, wind, solar, geothermal, nuclear, you name it, if you want improvements in technologies, if you want improvements in safety, the way you do that is taking part of your profits and reinvesting things in research and development. But if you preclude the ability for the manufacturers, the industry, to make a profit and develop the products that we need, then you de facto cut off future investment and capabilities.
Rear Admiral Don Loren joining us today from Vets for Energy. Go online to vetsforenergy.com. Use the number 4, vetsforenergy.com, and find out more. Admiral, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Enjoy the weekend.
And as always, thank you for your service to this country. This is Coastal Daybreak here on the talk station FM 107 and AM 1240. I'm also so proud to hear somebody use the word font. A font outside of font of every blessing. And because that's what made me think of it.